The wide array of companions and crew members is one of the true delights of Starfield, and it means that everyone's playthrough will be a little different. For the purposes of this guide, we've broken the companions down into 4 basic types, the first being Constellation companions. These are the big 5. They are fully fleshed out characters and most likely who you'll be rolling with for most of the game, and perhaps even romancing. You'll gather all 5 of them over the course of the main story, and they'll have a lot to say about events in Starfield's world, if you decide to talk to them. And you do want to talk to them, because otherwise they'll constantly badger you to talk to them. Vasco is your extremely cool robot companion and the first character you'll go adventuring with during the One Small Step mission. He specializes in helping out on your ship and is the only Constellation companion you sadly cannot romance. Barrett is the first member of Constellation you'll meet, but you won't be able to officially recruit him until the Back to Vectera mission, which is early on in the campaign. He specializes in helping out on your ship. Sarah Morgan is the leader of Constellation, who specializes in laser weapons, and she'll be your first human companion when you meet her at the end of the One Small Step mission. Andrea you'll encounter during the Into the Unknown quest when Vladimir sends you to look for her. She specializes in stealth. And lastly, you'll meet Sam Coe and his delightful daughter Cora during the Empty Nest pretty early on in Starfield's main campaign. He specializes in rifles and sounding exactly like Deus Ex Human Revolution's Adam Jensen. That last part isn't on his character sheet, but it should be.
You're not wrong.
Optional companions are fleshed out characters you can recruit as part of missions. They'll assist you in combat and maybe even travel around with you, but you don't need them, and they won't factor into your story or respond to things that are happening in your quests the way that Constellation companions would. But if you're building up a network of outposts, these are the characters you'll want to staff them with. Here are a few examples, all of whom you can encounter in the main quest. Mora Otero is someone you'll rescue during the second mission, the Old Neighborhood. You can find him in the Broken Spear Bar in Cydonia. He specializes in marksmanship and some ship weapon systems, and will happily join your crew if you ask him. You can return to Supervisor Lynn, your boss when you first start the game, during the Back to Vectera mission. She specializes in outpost management. Heller is your absolute dumbass of a coworker on Vectera who can also be recruited during the Back to Vectera mission. He is Lynn's loyal sidekick and specializes in being an outpost engineer. Raphael you won't meet until the Entangled mission, many hours into the main quest. If you choose to side with him, he'll say he needs a break, but will eventually join you as an engineer if you ask. If you selected the hero worshipped trait when making your character, then you've probably met the adoring Fan, an absolute weirdo who will follow you around and help you out, whether you want him to or not. He specializes in stealth, scavenging, carrying your stuff, and occasionally getting you small gifts. But if that's not your thing, there are several ways to get rid of him for good, all of which can be achieved through dialogue options. You can ask him about his fandom and then tell him to get lost, either by removing his crew status or persuading him that you're a murderer. Or you can choose the less humane route and be an actual murderer. Just know that before you can kill him, you'll need to remove him as an essential companion first, by again choosing the dialogue option to talk about his fandom and then selecting the option labeled attack. And we do recommend doing this in private, or everyone on your ship will hate you. There are a few other ways to get rid of this guy, which we'll pin in a comment below the video. Hireable companions are a little different than the story-based companions, which are sort of a mix between an optional companion and a crew member, which we'll explain in a moment. You'll need to recruit these companions from the local watering hole and pay them a heap of credits. But once you've bought their loyalty, they'll join your crew or outpost and can even adventure alongside you and chat. Mickey Caviar is a chef who specializes in food and health skills and is quite a character with quite the haircut. You can hire him for 9,000 credits at the Astral Lounge on Eon. Andromeda Kepler is an engineer who specializes in outpost engineering and piloting and can be recruited at the Broken Spear Bar in Cydonia for 15,000 credits. If you fancy yourself a Matt Mercer fan, you can find the character that he voices, Ezekiel, over at Aggie's Bar in Aquila City. He's got a penchant for cowboy hats, but he's good in a fight and will help boost your shields for a nominal fee. Rosie Tannehill is a doctor who specializes in healing and health skills. You can find her at the Hitching Post in Aquila and recruit her for 12,000 credits. Also at the Hitching Post is Amari Hassan, a spaceship engineer who, for 16,500 credits, will help out with your ship's shield system and engineering. And at the Viewport in New Atlantis, you'll find 3 other hireable companions. Simeon Benkowski, a sniper who you can recruit for 15,000 credits, credits, Marika Boros, a shotgun expert who will join you for 16,500 credits, and Gideon Aker, a missile guy who will run your ship's weapon systems for a mere 12,000 credits, and who, sorry ladies, cannot be romanced.
I have a wife, her name's Kalinda, and 3 kids back home on New Atlantis.
The last category of companions are crew members, who are really more of a set of skills than a personality. They don't even have names. But, like hireable companions, they cost credits to recruit, and they can be very expensive depending on how many skills they have. You can tell someone is a potential crew member when they have a title that's different from citizen, and you'll be able to see their set of skills on the top right of the screen. They'll hang out at most of the same places you'll find hireable companions, like the Astro Lounge, the Viewport, and Broken Spear. But, since crew members are randomized, we can't tell you where to find someone with a specific set of skills.
I will find you.
Once you hire a crew member, they'll join your roster like anyone else, and you can assign them to your ship or an outpost at your leisure.
Oh, hello there, friend. Have you been there long? Phil Hill at your service. Yes, it rhymes. My parents had a thing about rhyming. My siblings are named Bill, Jill, and Sil. The Hills. What a thrill. But there I go again. You aren't here to talk about me.